Christmas, and welcome back to The Living Years, a journey through the films and albums of each year I've been alive. This episode starts our transition into the music of 1978. I listened to over 100 albums from this year and put together a list of my top 40 favorites. But first, here's everything that didn't make the cut. There were some big country releases, including The Gambler from Kenny Rogers and Stardust by Willie Nelson, an album of pop standards by folks like Gershwin and Irving Berlin. I also enjoyed Room Service from the Oak Ridge Boys and Dolly Parton's Heartbreaker. It was a great year for rock and roll as well. The Who gave us the Who Are You album, which recent generations know the title track as the CSI theme song. Solid efforts emerged as well from Styx, REO Speedwagon, Boston, and Foreigner. Then there were two big debuts from Dire Straits and the studio supergroup Toto. Finally, there was the delayed release of Big Star's third album. If you want to rock a little harder than that, Judas Priest put out one of their best, Stained Class, and AC/DC continued to impress with Powerage. The four members of Kiss did something unprecedented this year as they each released solo albums on the same day. This gave them a chance to experiment with some songs and styles that ventured a little further from the Kiss sound. For example, Gene Simmons, backed by an orchestra and chorus, did a very traditional cover of the Disney classic When You Wish Upon a Star. I promise. The punk and post-punk scenes were getting quite creative, with great albums from The Jam, Wire, The Ramones, Television, and The Saints. Some very important debut albums were released this year as well from groups like Susie and the Banshees, Squeeze, Midnight Oil, Magazine, Pere Ubu, and Generation X, featuring some guy named Billy Idol. Bringing the funk, soul, and disco sounds were Marvin Gaye, Chaka Khan, Teddy Pendergrass, Parliament, Earth, Wind and Fire, Chick, I'm gonna say Chick, the Commodores, Funkadelic, and debut albums from Rick James and Prince. Bob Marley and the Wailers gave us a pretty chill reggae album this year as well with Kaya. And there were three very unique and important electronic albums: Kraftwerk's The Man Machine, The Yellow Magic Orchestra, and Ambient One Music for Airports by Brian Eno. I listened to a few great jazz debuts as well, Pat Metheny and Spyro Gyra. Folk, singer-songwriter, pop, adult, contemporary, whatever you want to call these artists, there was new material from a bunch of white dudes. Billy Joel, the Beach Boys, Hall & Oates, Neil Young, Tom Waits, Elton John, Bob Dylan, Townes Van Zandt, Peter Gabriel, and Bruce Cockburn. As for the ladies, Olivia Newton-John was totally hot. We were introduced to the very unique sounds of Kate Bush, and Melissa Manchester belted, "Don't Cry Out Loud." A record number of 5 Christian albums will be on the countdown this time, but there were also new albums from Second Chapter of Acts and Gary S. Paxton, as well as a live album from the Imperials, a musical called The Witness, the debut album of the great duo DeGarmo and Key, and the infamous Cosmic Cowboy from Barry Maguire, who was also involved this year in the popular children's album Bullfrogs and Butterflies. Which leaves us with a very exciting and diverse list of my 40 favorite albums from 1978. We will jump right in next time. Thanks for watching. See you then.
Come on, say it, say it, say it. Say